Hello, please, we are still admitting participants. So thank you very much for joining us today. We're really excited to have you here with us. Kindly give us a participant. Thank you very much.
Dear educator, we have great news for you. Edfin Microfinance Bank is collaborating with LSCTF to provide private schools in Lagos State with access to a single-digit interest school improvement loan. LSCTF Edfin EduLoan is a post-COVID-19 recovery initiative for schools. Key features of this offer include access to up to narrow school improvement loan, interest rate at 9% per annum, a flexible repayment plan of up to 30 fees collection account at Edfin Microfinance Bank, and applications submitted on Edfin LSCTF website. Applications open on October 2nd, 2020. Get ready to apply. For more information, please call 08094546334 or send an email to contact us at edfinmfb.com. Edfin Microfinance Bank. Dear educator, Finance Bank is collaborating with LSCTF to provide private schools in Lagos State with access to a single-digit interest school. LSCTF EduLoan is a post-COVID-19 recovery initiative for schools. Key features of this offer include access to up to 5 million naira school improvement loan, interest rate at 9% per annum, a flexible repayment plan of up to 30 months. Research, Lagos State Residency Registration ID, bank verification number, a school fees collection account at Edfin Microfinance Bank, guarantors information, and applications submitted on Edfin LSCTF website. Applications open on October 2nd, 2020. Get ready to apply. For more information, please call 08094546334 or send an email to contact us at edfinmfb.com. Edfin Microfinance Bank.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. This is another session of our post-lockdown series, Part 2 Recovery for Schools. We are really excited to have you here with us. My name is Dayo Adewale. If you have any question, kindly leave it on the comments or chat session, and your question and answers will be attended to accordingly. I promise you this is going to be worth the time. I tell you, you really need to listen to everyone. We have a lineup of speakers, great and wonderful people, and you are going to learn a lot from this meeting. So if you do not have your pen and paper close by, please get your pen and paper and let's begin. Okay, we've got great people here with us from right in Edfin here and outside Edfin. We've got great objective for you today and plan. So thank you very much for joining us. We will commence immediately. So we are starting with the school transformation program. We have here Dr. Muyiwa Boshe to take us through that. Dr. Muyiwa Boshe, he holds a BSc in biochemistry and PG certificate in agro-industrial project from Bradford, UK. He's got an MBA and PhD in Christian leadership. He actually started his career in training when he attended a training for trainers of the junior chambers in Montreal in 1984. He became the national president, Junior Chamber International in January 1988, and a training coordinator for Africa and the Middle East in 1989. He actually veered into education in 1996 when his first child could not get admission into the university after secondary school. He had to actually double as one of our teachers in A-levels, and that's what became the Education Advancement Center today, EAC today. He's involved in giving strategic direction to that organization, and that organization prepared over 500 students for the university yearly. He also lectures occasionally entrepreneurship in the University of Ibadan and is on the faculty of the newly approved Business School of University of Ibadan. He is also the president of Christian Theological Seminary, which is affiliated to Olabisi Onabanjo University for BA Religious Studies. He's the president of Renewed Thinkers Ministry and the president of the Calvary Network Television Station, broadcasters of school on-air lessons over the satellite to Africa. He's a pioneer of mobile learning, which earned him the award of #9 in e-learning in the world in 2012. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Muyiwa Bangboshi. Dr. Muyiwa, over to you. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much, and good morning to everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you. I also want to appreciate Edfin for the good work they're doing and therefore deeming it fit to educate all of us, because we are all in this together. We benefit from information every time. I want to say that I'm trying to change my internet source because to something a bit more robust, but if this doesn't go off, I think I'll just go on. Can I have the permission to share my screen so that I can go on with my presentation? Or do I have the permission already?
Yes, you do, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. All right, the topic we're speaking on is a school transformation program. School transformation program as part of the path to recovery for private schools. We have all been hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, and if anybody was not hit, I don't know what the person would say happened. All right, so I want to just give us some background. On the 1st of April 1976, in the US, Apple was born, the same Apple company that we talk about today. The founders were Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ronald Wayne. April 13, 12 days after, Ronald Wayne stepped out. He sold his shares for $800. $800. Then in 1985, Steve Wozniak, the second co-founder, also stepped out, leaving Steve Jobs. But Steve Jobs didn't last that year. He was fired. Somebody says this later on, that back then, Steve Jobs was uncontrollable. He got ideas in his head, and the hell with what anybody else wanted to do. He was brilliant, and he knew what he was doing, but it was in his head, as they would say. So they brought him back later on, because in 1996, he started a company that eventually Apple strategically bought. And when they bought the company, they offered Steve Jobs, the CEO, back. So he took over again in 1997, the company he started where he was fired. And he knew what he was doing. So he looked at the products, he reviewed the products. He knew that only a few products were making profit. The others were not. So he stopped manufacturing those ones that were making losses. Strategic decision. Now he went on to launch the iMac, the iBook, the iPod, Mac, iPhone, iPad, etc. And he took the company's worth to over 1 trillion. Was one of the first companies to cross the 1 trillion value from someone who was fired. But before they brought him back, Apple itself was in trouble. All right. That's not the only story. Lego, we all know about Lego. We use Lego in primary schools and we teach kids with Lego bricks. They also started in Denmark, doing very well. But by 2005, they almost faced bankruptcy. They almost went under. But come 2015, they have quadrupled their value, revenues are up, and they are making progress. They are moving into places. So what happened? There's what we call the burning inferno, the fire that provokes and sometimes can destroy. All right. You see, the burning inferno, when it comes, we talk of firefighting brigade approach. It is not for firefighting. It is time for transformation. So all the fire that we have faced in 2020 with COVID-19, with NSAS, I tell you, they are for a purpose. It is time for transformation. Some of us say that school has been long overdue for transformation, for what we call the disruptive technology. But we wouldn't disrupt school until COVID came and COVID disrupted school. So what next? All right, if you look at the two cases, the Steve Jobs in Apple and the Lego, they looked at two major directions. Operation focus, how do we do what we do? And customer focus, who are we serving? All right, and these are the key questions for every school owner. As we reopen, as we bring in students again, how do we do what we do? Is it okay? And who are the people that we're serving? Are they still there? You see, the transformation process has 4 phases. The first one is you go through the burning inferno, which is what ignites the start of the transformation. And the first thing you should do is analyze and connect the dots. The time we have spent locked down should be a time of review, should be a time of rethinking. And every school owner needs to look at their operation. Are we doing things right? All right, connect the dots. Then you move on to staying afloat, because that's the dilemma now. How do you stay afloat? For many months, there was no income. In many states, people did not do the third term, all right? And then the first time again for the next year was destroyed. So this year, only the first term, the second term that was collected in the early part of the year is what was collected. So how do we survive? And there are teachers to be paid. There are, all kinds of vendors waiting for money. How do we stay afloat? Now that calls for getting back to basics. We say keep the trains running, all right? And after that, we want to build. We don't want to stay where we were, all right? And that means we want to stabilize the structures. We want to look at the processes. We want to look at the systems. And finally, we want to transform into the future, build the future, build the future. So when Corona came and disrupted school, we're saying that is the beginning of transformation, the burning inferno. All right. Now, I'll show you a grid here. Your school or your organization could be in any point in the 4 positions. S1, that is untenable. Now, if you look at the graph, on the low side, you have, on the lower part, you have low on the horizontal axis on the left, going to high. So if your operation had a low income, all right, if you had a low income and your potential was not maximized, this is where you are in S1. If you were maximizing before, all right, I mean, you were having a high income before, but you are not maximizing. You are a cliffhanger. You are a cliffhanger. I tell you, a lot of people that went down with COVID-19 lockdown problem, okay, it was because something was not done well before. If you are operating well.
Hello, Dr. Muiwa.
Yes. Hello, I can hear you. Yes. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Please continue, sir.
Hello. Okay. Come again.
Please go on, sir. Please go on, sir.
Okay. All right. Okay. So if you were doing well before, maybe you had money, but you are not doing the right things, you are on the cliff. It was just a matter of time. You were going to go over. All right. But then you have those who are in the direction of transformative. They have increased their potential. It's high, but they're still at the low output. That's transformative. Okay. That's the field for transformation and recovery. And then if you are in S4, you are stable. Your output is high, your potential is high. That's where we want to be. All right. Now, there are areas of review. I said the first thing is you review, you analyze, and you connect the dots. All right. Number one, why are we here? Number two, who are we using? The people factor. Number three, financials. How are we doing in the bank? Number four, what assets? Number five, our processes and practices right. Number six, do we have the right systems and technology? Number seven, are we planning, monitoring performance well? Number eight, do we have the right values and the right culture? We need all those. So we're going to review them. Why this organization? You want to review your vision and mission. All right. Why was your school set up? Okay. Who are you serving? What needs were you going to meet? Are you still on track? This is a time to review, because if you don't, you will continue just trying to stay afloat. And that's not what we're about. Okay. The second one is the people factor. Who are the workers with you? How's your top leadership? How's your middle level leadership? How do we rate with subjects? Do you look at your performance in WAEC or NECO? Okay, how many of your students are getting admission into the university? Okay, we need to do all those review the people factor. Do you need to do something about the teachers, about the administrators and things like that? Number three, look at the financials. Do we even have financial records? I tell you, if you're not careful, you may not even have financial records. Collect the money, spend, and just go on. Okay, which of your expenses are like 80%? Because if you want to do correction, if you want to stabilize, you need to know how your finances are. All right, what costs can you reduce? Okay, if you reduce costs that are infinitesimal, you're wasting time. Look at the ones that are important. Then income analysis. Do we have enough demand? Do we have enough students? All right. How elastic is our pricing? Can I increase my school fees without losing students? If you can't, then it's inelastic. I mean, it is elastic. Okay. How do we compare with neighboring schools? Are we charging what they're charging, or are we the ones who are picking the dregs? Okay. What's our break-even point? You need to know your break-even point. I tell you, it's very easy to run a school and not know that this is the minimum number you need in the class or in the school. All right. What of assets? What do we have? Do we own our premises? This is the time to take stock. Do we need to have a van? Do we have it? Do we need teaching facilities? Do we have them? Learning facilities? Do we have furniture that we need as we need them? Laboratories, are they well equipped or stocked? Okay. Do we have computers, interactive whiteboards, TVs, and things like that? Then what's our process like? How effective is our teaching? All right. Don't just start again, the same thing that you used to do. Review. Are we making impact on the children? Are we transforming their lives? Are we giving them the teachers opportunities to also improve? Okay. These are things to answer, as we come back on. Are we improving our people's behaviors, or is it only good people that we help? You see, we're supposed to help everyone. If you make impact on the worst of the students, your acclaim will go round. Are we carrying parents along with our processes? We need to check all these things. Number 6, our systems and technology and things like that. How did we fare during the lockdown? Some schools could not interact with their students at home, because they were battling. Some with WhatsApp, some with Google Meet, some with Zoom. It wasn't just the case of doing something. Was it effective? How did we fare? We need to review. All right. Do we have adequate study aids in the school? Do we have a learning management system? This is critical, especially when you don't have time to do what you got to do. You got to manage the learning process. Then what's our assessment like? Is it just the old rubric, bring paper and a mark and things like that? Can teachers cope? Do we have adequate resources, books, and so on? Do we have learner-friendly study tools? The students don't want to read, but we keep throwing books at them. Okay, do we have videos for them? Do we have tablets for them? Okay, now our planning, monitoring, how do we fare? How effective is our data monitoring and tracking? Do we know the students who are doing well? Do we just wait until end of term before knowing, or end of year before we know a child is going to fail? These are things to review. Do we have a school self-evaluation system? All right. Are we monitoring our performance? You need to ask and answer yourself. Do we have a budget? Do we even control our finances or expenditures to the budget? All right. Then values and culture. These are critical things in a school. What are our values? All right. That's what makes a difference between a school that will cheat and a school that will not cheat. A school that will produce self-reliant children and one that will make children who will always be looking for daddy and money. Is there a visible culture? How is it passed on to staff? How is it passed on to students? Okay. So if you can do that review, then the next step is to be back to basics. Keep the train running. Keep the train running. Because you've got to get running. Some schools are finding it difficult to call back some teachers because they owe them so much. But how do you keep back on track? How do you get back on track? Okay, to keep the train running. Another strategy we need to look is to cut costs. You need to cut costs because cost is what erodes into our income, all right? But while maintaining effectiveness. You don't want to make yourself spend no money but get no result, all right? So you can use videos to reduce teacher cost, okay? There are times you can engage the kids, watch this video, and then come and discuss what you see. Those are cost-saving strategies that we need at this time to stay afloat, all right? You can flip lessons. You can tell them to go home and watch this lesson. And what does that mean? They must buy tablets. And tell you what, when they buy the tablets, they buy it through your school, you are transferring some of your costs to them. The kids would study at home, they will, and then when they buy the tablets, you can make some commission if you structure your costing properly. All right, okay. Use solar power to reduce diesel power. Because most schools run on generator once NEPA is off. I was doing my presentation and NEPA went off. Generator come back and go back again. This is part of school. But if you can put some places on solar, you can save a lot. We need to be ingenious now. All right. While you are reducing costs, you also want to look at how to increase revenue. Okay. If you just reduce costs, that can help you, but you can also do very well if you increase revenue. There are areas to look at. For example, you can sell things to the students at this time. It's critical. Everybody wants to survive. And so if you can pass some of your challenges to the other person, then it's better for you. And if you can take some of the advantages from the other person, you're doing well. City farming. Maybe you've seen some videos of producing yam in bags within the city. There are things you can do, fish tanks and things like that. And the kids that are your students, they'll be learning and then they'll be earning for the school. You see, so in other words, we build to stabilize. Don't forget, you look at all the areas that we ran through. I hope you'll get some of these presentations later on so you can review on your own. Okay, why are we here? The people factor, the financials, and so on and so forth. So when you stabilize, the next thing is to transform. Transform. Don't stay where you are. Don't go back to where you were before COVID-19. If we want to learn from COVID-19, we want to get better. Now, there are some studies that have been done before. I have a report that was conducted in England. 100 school head teachers were interviewed to find out how they saw 8 factors that were relevant for the school: leadership, vision and ethos, teaching quality, governance, monitoring and evaluation, curriculum, staff performance management, and improvements to relationships within the schools and the community and the parents. Now, 3 items came on top. Number 1, you want to improve your school, improve teacher effectiveness and impact. You can't beat that. Number 2, improve the effectiveness of the leadership team. How do they get results? Work on how you get results between you, the principal, the vice principal, or whoever. Do something about effectiveness. Number 3, improve how you monitor data to monitor the pupils' progress. When you do these 3, your school will shoot up. All right. The thing is this: don't waste the pain. I'm told that I'm not a woman. When some women, when they're in the labor room and the pain comes, the nurses and the midwives, they say, push, push. When the pain comes, push. Please don't waste the pain of COVID-19. Don't waste the pain of the lockdown. Let's push now. Let's do something to transform. We transform the school to be what we want. Thank you very much. I'll take questions if there's time for questions, or we'll move to the other topics.
Thank you very much, Dr. Muiwa. Thank you very much. We really appreciate that. So the 4 key things we need to go home with: analyze and stabilize your structure, process, and system, and of course, transform. So our schools are on the path to transformation. Thank you very much, Dr. Muiwa. That was really educational. All right, so to take us further into this webinar, I'm going to be inviting our very own Mr. Tunde Omolere. Mr. Tunde Omolere is an alumnus of Enugu State University of Technology. Is a fellow of Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria and microfinance certified banker of Chartered Institute of Bankers, CIBM. He has attended several local and international courses in general banking, internal control, and risk management, which include the Boulder Institute of Microfinance Bank in Italy and the prestigious Harvard Business School in USA. He has contributed his quota to the development of microfinance industry in Nigeria in collaboration with CBN and National Association of Microfinance Banks. Mr. Babatunde is a seasoned banker with over 18 years experience in commercial, retail, mortgage, and microfinance banking, having served in almost all the departments in the banks, both at junior and senior level. Very dogged around corporate goals. He's a risk professional to the core, but with general banking knowledge and distinctive performances. Prior to joining FA Microfinance Bank, he was the Chief Operations Officer of Action Microfinance Bank and a pioneer head of internal control, which later became risk control and compliance. Mr. Babatunde has worked with Wema Bank PLC, Global Trust Savings and Loans Limited, Intercontinental Bank. He has also served as the Managing Director of Crown Eagle Microfinance Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Babatunde Omolere as he takes us further into recovery of school fees. Thank you very much. Mr. Tunde, over to you.
Thank you, Dayo. Shika, can you please allow me? I want to stand on the existing protocol. Dr. Bamigoshe has done very good justice to what we are talking about. We're talking about paths to recovery, and we are all in this together. I'd like to share my slide. Okay. Path to recovery. How are we supposed to recover? Now we know the effect of COVID. And I want to start with this quotation that in the time of peace, prepare for war. And in the time of war, prepare for peace. You know, some had very, very horrible story to tell concerning what COVID has caused. But I want to tell you that some who has prepared very well, they have a better story to tell, even in this school's business. But now, it does not matter what has happened. We need to roll in together and solve the problem headlong. And therefore, I'm going to be introducing a 3 ways approach. How do we recover? The number one thing that we need to do now is to focus on survival strategy. Survival strategy. How do I survive the devastating effect of COVID in my school? I cannot run away from it. I must face it headlong. Number 2 is that we need to build resilience. We need to build resilience. And in building resilience, you must muster energy. You must focus on future. You must bring out your inner drive. You must convince yourself within that I can do it. And you must be flexible in your thinking. There are many considerations that you must put into practice, and you must build strong relationship, because I want to tell you, relationship will help you. You need people, you need connection, you need people that will assist you. You cannot do it alone. You must build strong relationship. And after you have been able to build good resilience, then the next strategy is your sustainable growth strategy. I'm going to be talking on these 3 approaches. What do I need to do to survive this problem? The problem has occurred. We cannot run away from it. This is my business. I have taken school as my core course. What do I need to survive? And therefore, I have this for you. Because as a result of pandemic, we cannot run to appraise your present condition. I have called many schools, and some of them said, only 25% of my school returned. Some said, in the kindergarten, they are almost wiped off. Some said, in my secondary school, none of them are paying. There are a lot of reasons that you have given. I want you to sit down now and appraise your present condition. What has happened? What area are you doing well? Divide the school into 3. The pre-primary, the primary, and the secondary. Where are you doing well? Do I need to develop strategy to build other arm, or do I need to delete? You need to tell yourself the truth. Do not create expectation based on past record. Prior to COVID, I used to have 500 students, but after COVID, I am only having 300, or I am only having 100. Don't worry. By January, my 500 students will come back. This may be far from the truth. Tell yourself the truth that, okay, if I'm having just 100 students, this is what I have now. This is what I have now. What can I do with it? In secondary school, only 5 students return out of 200 students. Don't I need to delete it? Because if I have 5 students and I need to engage teacher that will teach each of the subjects, mathematics, English, biology, chemistry, physics, and I will have to employ more than 20 teachers to teach 5 students. Don't I need to delete it? Tell yourself the reality. What is the truth about my present condition? And after that, you need to say, okay, how can I arrange my budget based on the reality that I have discovered? How much is my total earning? How much am I spending? The number of teachers that I have now, does it justify the number of students based on the income that is coming in? What is the essence of having teachers that you will not pay their salary? What is the essence of having teachers that you are rationing their salary and they are not happy doing what they are doing? You need to say, okay, if my income is 100,000, I need to reduce my salary to just 50,000 naira. And therefore, how many teachers can I carry along? Who are the best brain that can maneuver between one class and the other so that I can manage my OPEX, my operating expenses, vis-a-vis the income that I am getting? You must be able to determine your budget. What budget are you ready to carry? What budget are you ready to drop? These are the things that will help your survivor, because if not, you may crash. I have known a school that dissatisfied the staff, and during the holiday, the entire staff resigned. And as they were resigning, they were convincing every student never to return. And by the time the school resumed the following term, only 2 students resumed. Today, the school is no longer a school. So therefore, you must arrange your budget. How do I survive this tide? And therefore, after that, you need to determine how to convert your dormant assets to an income-generating scheme. For some of you, you have already built 21 classrooms, but after COVID, only 10 is being utilized. What do you want to do with 11 classrooms? Some of you, you have built very gigantic hall, a call examination hall. Now, what do you use the hall for? You need to think about it. And some of the examples that come into mind is, don't I need to let out some of my classroom for offices? I can let out part of my classroom for offices. We have a lot of people that are looking for office. They don't want to go far anymore. Can I use my hall for weekend engagement, wedding program, religious activity, and I collect fee instead of the building being locked up? Can I use the bus for hiring? They want to hire the bus to convince certain set of people. Or do I really need the bus self? Don't I need to sell off the bus? I have discovered that driver most time earn more than teachers in some school because their trouble is much. Apart from the fact that their salary is higher than that of the teacher, what else do? They spoil your vehicle anyhow. They take it to the mechanic and make money on you. When you calculate bus, is it actually profitable or is contributing negatively to your bottom line? Do I need to sell off the bus? So there are a lot of things you need to discover concerning the assets that you are having now. Any assets that is not generating commensurate income now, do I really need it? Or how can I convert it to income base? These are the survival strategy that you must do now if you must continue to exist. And I want to go to the next slide. Resilience. What is the meaning of resilience? These enable us to develop mechanism for protection against experiences which could be overwhelming. It helps us to maintain balance in our life during difficult or stressful period. You need to build resilience. And the number one way to build resilience is to have policies and procedure covering area of your policies, every area of your business. When we are talking of policy, don't get a consultant to just write a policy that you cannot implement. Build your policy from what you are doing now. But when you write the policy, nobody must break the policy. Let the policy be like God, that even the proprietor will not break any of the policy. Let every individual member of staff be aware of that policy and let them implement it to the letter. You need to build strong policy. If you don't have policy for now, there is no shock absorber for you. There is nothing to lean on. Number two, you need to adopt technology in all areas. I mean, end to end, from admission, that let's say COVID is coming again and you are not going to be in school. It wouldn't stop your admission because it's already online. It wouldn't stop your teaching because it's already online. It wouldn't stop your examination because it's already online. It wouldn't stop releasing results because it's online. You need to adopt technology end to end. Number 3, build strong credit history. Build strong credit history, because when you needed help, it is your credit history that will help you. How do you build credit history? If you have ever borrowed before, learn how to pay at the right time. If there is any exigencies that will not make you to pay, settle with your bank as quickly as possible. But make sure that in building that relationship, the little that you are getting, pay it in. Let them see your income. Take your total school fees, run it through your banker, run it through the bank that give you loan, so that they will be aware of your total capacity and they'll be able to run with you. If you don't have a strong credit history, in the day that you have an opportunity to use funds that you do not have, you won't get somebody to give it to you. If you have ever borrowed before and you have not paid, quickly go and renegotiate. Build strong credit history to be a shock absorber for you when opportunity comes or when threat comes. Build it. Create a very strong and workable collection strategy. Create a very strong and workable collection strategy. What am I talking about? You need to look at your clients. Who are my parents? Are my parents traders who sells every day? If the core of your parents are into daily activities, they make money every day, you must design your collection every day. If you are going to divide the entire school fees into the number of days, maybe the first 100 days or first 50 days, divide it and make sure you collect it per day. If your parents are salary earner that earns their salary on monthly basis, design that the first 2 months of your term, you collect your school fees. Every end of the month, ensure that certain percentage of that money is collected. Don't wait till the end of the term. Don't wait until the exams period. If your parents are businessmen, they must pay first week of resumption, because they're supposed to have saved the money during the holiday, because their businesses may not be general, they are contractors. So you need to create very strong and workable collection strategy. You are in school for business. If you want to run an NGO school, let it be known. But there is no reason why you will tolerate students that are owing you for too long. So you need to create a standard workable plan that will allow you to ensure collection is done at the right time. It could be daily, it could be weekly, it could be monthly, it could be in lump sum. I know schools that collect their school fees once in a year, even the entire 3 times, because that is the kind of the parent that they have. Study your environment, study your community, study this kind of parent that you have, and design your collection based on your discovery. If you don't train them, you cannot blame them. Train them, let them be high quality staff that can deliver the expectation of the parent, staff that can deliver the vision of your school. If you are saying you are reaching for the stars, the kind of training that you are giving to your staff must be reaching for the stars. The kind of certification, the kind of approach, their standard, the way they dress, the way they coordinate themselves, their charisma, the way they speak and everything. Build the standard that you want to see. And lastly, create other streams of income. Create other streams of income. I want to tell you that it is Dr. Miwa has spoken concerning other sources of income that you can create. When I was a student, we had a club called Young Farmers Club. Young Farmers Club, at a point in time, was producing enough food for almost the burden. I know a particular school in Lagos owned by government that they have a standard bakery. The bread, they don't buy bread for their boarding, and they are even selling the bread to the public. That same school has a pure water. I know schools that convert their home economics studio to making all those making small shops and the likes. So you need to create other streams of income even right in that school. Who says you should have a bookshop, not only for your student, but for the student outside? Don't create a bookshop that it is only looking into the school. You must look into the public. Create a bookshop where external students can come and purchase. Create a small mini market right inside the school where you sell the provisions needed by all the students. You need to create other streams of income, even during holiday. Those other schools, those other streams of income can sustain you. This is how to build resilience. And lastly, you need to build a sustainable growth. Growth that allow you to move from one level to an higher level. And you need to integrate technology into your school activities. You can generate a lot of income when you allow students to learn on their own through tablets. Dr. Bangboshi has spoken about that. I don't want to talk too much. And you need to improve parent communications. You need to improve parent communication. These are your real clients. They are your real customer. You need to do a proper customer service. You must build a consumer-centric approach to this parent. Talk to their conscience. Speak to their mind. Know what they want. Work according to what will make them happy, that they will be proud that their students, that their children are going to your school and they are getting results. For a child that is not doing well, communicate to the parent. Identify the gap. Communicate. Please improve your parent communication. And number two, zero in on reporting. Zero in on reporting. What do I mean? Do not tolerate any negative reporting, because your reputation will determine whether you will continue or not. If you have bad image outside there, it will destroy your school. It wouldn't allow your school to grow. And I want to tell you, whatsoever that you know that is wrong, communicate to the appropriate person. What is the teacher-student relationship, especially between male teacher and female teacher? What is the parent-teacher relationship? What is the behavior of each of the students? Ensure that there is an appropriate report, and make sure that all reports are properly reviewed and actions needed are taken at the right time. Zero in on your reporting. And I say diversify into all educational area. You could use, including TVET, using the same assets with minimal expenses. You could engage in other area. For example, one of it is that you can organize after-school coaching, which include weekend. I discovered this data because public schools now, they go to school maybe 2 times or 3 times, or morning, afternoon, and everything. Most parents are saying, this may not be sufficient for their world. They are ready now for their children to go to weekend classes in private school. It's working out. Try it. Organize just Saturday classes. You will discover that a lot of public students will join you. Adults, you can create adult classes. A lot of adults that did not go to school, they are interested in getting an avenue where they can be taught how to read and write, how to prepare for WAEC. I've seen somebody that started going to school at the age of 50. Today is a graduate through adult education. And what are preparatory classes? Preparatory classes for JAMB, preparatory classes for GCE, preparatory classes for IJMB. You could create it. Create this kind of classes and it will generate more money. It comes every time. Improve your amenities and teaching aid. A lot of parents will not bring their children to your school because your amenities is horrible. And how can you improve it? Sometimes your income may not be enough. You need to contact financial institution for one loan or the other. There are opportunities now. Remember that we have LSCTF, very shaking interest. Go there, apply, improve your amenities and teaching aids. Because when you improve your amenities, you get better patronage. And you need to build business within your businesses. Build businesses within your current business. Like I was talking earlier, you need to build a lot of businesses. What can I do inside these same businesses? Can I have that farming that Dr. Bangushi was talking about? Putting yam inside sack, right around the compound, you will use it to teach agric when it is time for agric. Can I engage in selling one thing or the other right inside the school? Can I backtrack selling book, publishing book? A lot of school, they go into printing press and they do their exercise book and still put their name there. They say to the student, they say to outsiders, build business within your businesses. There are many things you need to think about. Think outside the box. You can even do things outside education. I know people that they say during holiday, they do a lot of businesses that is not even connected to education. Build businesses within your business. If you will do this, you will recover speedily and ensure that your relationship is cordial with every party. Thank you so much. I don't know if there's any question. Thank you so much. Dio.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tunde. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed your session. Few of the things that we need to do. First of all, we need to know that we are in school for business. We need to commercialize our school, start thinking like a business person, not just as someone who is into education only. So you need to think about survival strategy, resilience strategy, sustainable growth. All right, thank you very much. Now let's watch this video as we continue. Thank you very much. Hello, Chika, we can't hear anything. There's no volume.
Lagos State Residency Registration ID, bank verification number, a school fees collection account at Edfin Microfinance Bank, guarantors information, and application submitted on Edfin LSCTF website. Applications open on October 2nd, 2020. Get ready to apply. For more information, please call 08094546334 or send an email to contact us at edfinmfb.com. Edfin Microfinance Bank, enabling education for the future. Dear educator, we have great news for you. Edfin Microfinance Bank is LSCTF to provide private schools in Lagos State with access to a single-digit interest school improvement loan. LSCTF Edfin Edu plan of up to 30 months. Application requirements are CAC documents, school approval or name search, Lagos State Residency Registration ID, bank verification number, a school fees collection account at Edfin Microfinance Bank, guarantors information, and applications submitted on Edfin LSCTF website. Applications open on October 2nd, 2020. Get ready to apply. For more information, please call 08094546334 or send an email to contact us at edfinmfb.com. Edfin Microfinance Bank, enabling education for the future. Dear
Thank you very much for that. I am very excited for this next session. Now we are going to be talking about applying successfully for LSETF loan. And to take us into that is none other than Mrs. Olarewaju Oni. So she, the reason I'm very excited is because she has always been supportive of all our initiatives in Edfin. Thank you very much, Mrs. Land Business and Distinction in Industrial an entrepreneur, an author, speaker, focusing on creating wealth, job, income, and economic growth. She has a proven track record of delivering bottom line impact and results. She founded and leads the Holistic Business Solution, and she also serves as executive director for the firm's social impact project, SEED, which is the Sustainable Education and Enterprise Development. She also has worked with Future for Kids Africa and Accelerate Hub. She began her career at KPMG Professional Services in Business Development Analyst and a life member of Enterprise Development Center in Pan-African University. She currently sits on the board of Jesse Field Microfinance Bank and the New Child Initiative. She has also extensive experience as an international development expert, working with organizations like UKA, DFID, GI, Oxfam, amongst others. She has worked closely with international and local private sector actors, federal and state government, development agencies, academia, membership-based organization, and non-government organization in a wide range of sectors. She has also worked on several notable international development and entrepreneurship projects, such as the Business Innovative Facility, DIPON, which is developing effective private education in Nigeria, and also market development in Niger Delta. Right now, she's working with Lagos State Employment Trust Fund and also World Bank Growth and Employment in Nigeria, among others. Ladies Oni, thank you very much. Mrs. Larry, over to you.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can all hear me.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Yes, we can hear you clearly, ma'am.
I know we have about 37 participants here. If you're here, please put in the chat box whether you are interested in the Edfin funding with LSETF. Like, this is why you're here today. You want to learn about how to get the money, because that's the baseline of my discussion. So I'd like to read from you guys as I go ahead. If you're interested in the LSETF. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So I can see that before I get into the issue of what the requirement, because that is one of the reasons why a lot of us are not successful when it comes to are not ready for finance. And we then think that it is because, oh, they don't want to give us funding. That is why we're unsuccessful. So success is Yes, there's some factors that are outside our control, but there are lots of factors that are within our control that hinders us from actually successfully getting the funding that we want. And a lot of it has been covered in the first two sessions, because if you are not on top of your game as a school leader or a school owner, you will not be able to provide the requisite information and the information that will make the funder comfortable to give you money. Now, we're talking about post-COVID recovery. It is not free money. It is not a grant. It is money you have to pay back. Even though the interest rate is a bit low and it is very affordable, you need to be able to demonstrate that you will be able to pay back the money. So everything that has been said by the prior two speakers, you need to be able to sit down, relook at their presentation, evaluate everything, single thing that they've said. How are you cutting costs? How are you increasing revenue? How are you ensuring that you have adequate staff? How are you ensuring that you have the adequate collection strategy for school fees? Because this is what would ensure that the funder is comfortable to be able to give you money so that you are able to pay back. The idea is that the bank wants to support you. The bank wants you to recover from the COVID challenges and everything that has happened. But the bank is also a business. And if they don't get the funding back, they won't be able to provide additional funding to others that would need the money. So you need to be able to demonstrate that. Otherwise, you will not be able to get the finance. So yes, people talk about the checklist and the documentation requirements. The video that was showed before I started my session, told you a couple of things that you would need as documentation. I will go over that as well. But the major thing is, even if you cross that bridge of having all of the documents, can you demonstrate that the money will come back to the financial institution so that they can on-lend to others who are in need of this recovery funding? So that takes me into the very brief, I'm going to share my screen shortly, into a very brief exercise. I must also say that you might not understand everything I talk about. It's just, I'm going to explain it very briefly, but it's an additional exercise you need to do to be able to demonstrate that you can pay back the money that you take when you take this loan. With that information, you'll be able to demonstrate to anybody. And if you're able to explain yourself, then you will be able to demonstrate that this money is going to come back. All of the strategies that have been provided for school transformation, school fees collection, all of that is very, very important. I don't want to go through it again, but it is so very important because that's the only way you can demonstrate that the money is going to come back to the financial institution. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen shortly. And this is one tool that we use to support schools to be able to understand where they are. It is school financial management. And if you do not understand, there are two things you need to understand as a school, which is what is my cash burn and my cash runway. These are two terms that even in the business space, the general business space, every single organization should be able to understand how their cash burn works and their cash runway, how it works. Do not mind the terms. They are very, very simple terms, and don't think that the terms are complex things. The cash burn is the rate at which you use up the cash reserves and your cash balance in your organization. While the cash runway is how long your cash would last you. One of the key things, I ask when schools come and say they need funding is, how much do you need? Most people come up with that amount based on what the bank has said they can offer. So they will say, oh, LSCTF EdFin funds say they will give 500,000 for micro business and up to 5 million for SMEs. And then we just run and say, okay, I'll take 5 million because they said it's available. Or I'll take 500,000 because, oh, I'm a micro business and they said that's available. There is no basis for your calculation in terms of, what do I need the money for? Why exactly am I taking this money? Can I afford to take this money? Would I be able to pay back? What are my income streams? How am I going to how am I going to pay back this money? All my expenses, my monthly expenses, am I able to manage that? The strategies that were given to us earlier, am I able to cut costs, able to pay back the monthly repayment or the termly repayment based on what I'm earning? Do I have additional businesses that can help support the repayments? These are all questions we need to ask ourselves. And one of the key things we also need to look at as school owners and leaders is that what are the different scenarios? So most times people come and say, oh, I'll pay back. No, you need to plan for the worst and plan for the best. So what happens if everything goes well? What happens if everything does not go well? What if this, you need to be able to balance yourself and decide if you're able to take up all of the funding that you're asking for and if you're going to be able to pay back. That is very, very critical because that is the only way you can demonstrate to the funder that you are able to pay back. So you want to look at what is your average student population this term as they've resumed. What is your tuition? Are they really paying? What is your collection rate? Are you able to, collect all of the school fees? What are the scenarios? Use the different scenarios. What if I collect only 30% of school fees? What if I collect 50%? What if I collect 80%? What exactly would that come up to? You want to look at other income areas. Am I doing, what income is coming from uniform? What income is coming, because school fees might not be your only income area. What is coming from the bookshop? All of the suggestions that have been provided, you want to look at that. You also now want to look at all of your expenses. What am I even spending money on? If I put in the loan repayment, would I be able to pay back in the scenario where only 30% of my school fees is collected? Would I be able to pay back if it is only 50% of school fees that is collected? Remember, you're also juxtaposing that alongside the student population. You need to be able to understand how much you are able to take. It is not just, oh, I need 10 million. Can you pay back? You might really need the 10 million. You might look at it to say, oh, I haven't paid teachers for the last 6 months. I need the money. That's true. But do you need to borrow to be able to meet those financial needs? You need to evaluate and look at it to say, okay, can I renegotiate with my staff and tell them I'll pay them, in bits and pieces? That is another type of finance. It's not all finance that has to come from borrowing. You can renegotiate some of your of money you owe and ask for payment terms with your vendors. So look at it and sit down as a leader and plan and look at your cash flow to be able to, determine if you are able to pay the money back. This is the most critical part of accessing this loan, because your ability to pay back is what really matters. And until you can demonstrate that, that is when you would be ultimately successful at this. Yes, we have the documentation requirements. We have the amount that, the things that we need to have, but this is the most critical success factor for you to be able to successfully pass through the funding stage. So I'm going to stop here and now move into very quickly what exactly we need. It has been put in the video to be able to access the funding that is available. We are all aware that it's a 5 billion fund that is available for us for recovery for post-COVID. It is important for us to be able to kind of, know the things that we need. The first thing is that, like I mentioned in the cash burn calculator, we need to understand your student population. It is impossible for you to, fully pay back a loan if you only have 2 students. The first speaker, or was it the second speaker that spoke about, what do you need to eliminate? If your nursery school only has 1 child, you don't want to have the nanny, you don't want to have the teacher there, or expending that amount, and you cannot, that 1 child's school fees cannot afford to meet the expenses. So you need to be able to evaluate and determine, whether that business line, and that's the importance of understanding your business fully as a school. Your total school income is not what you should be looking at. you should be looking at every single unit and every single revenue unit. So if you have a nursery, primary, secondary school, evaluate each single arm so that you're able to identify whether this particular unit is actually profitable or not. So if you do not have up to, less than 50 students, if you look at that cash calculator I talked about, you would know. In fact, there is no reason for you to approach the bank. By the time you go through this exercise with us, or you do it by yourself, you're able to see that I'm unable to pay the money. Because the truth is, if you look at the revenue, you look at the expenses, and then you now add the repayment of the loan, it would tell you that you cannot take up this loan. So it is important for us to first understand that we need to have up to 50 students in our school that are paying, and there's a difference. So if you look at schools that have a school that has 50% as a case study, 50 students, and another school that has 100 students, but their school fees collection ratio is different. So for instance, the school with 100 students but only collects 30% school fees, while a school that has 50 students and collects 100% of school fees. The school with 50 students with 100% school fees collection is better off than the 100 students with 30% school fees collection. So we need to understand our numbers. We need to, zone into our data and our numbers and our finances to be able to decide and determine what we're able to afford to borrow. So population is sorted. All of the documents, CAC documents is important. You must be a business. So at least as a private school, you should be registered as a business, whether you're a business name or limited liability or you're a trust or whatever, you must be registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission. However, because the government understands that there's some schools that haven't finished their approval process, for the Ministry of Education, if you have your school approval or at least name search, you can access the loan. So yes, you must have CAC, but with name search, you can get loan as well. So you can also apply if what you have done is name search. But if you haven't done name search at all, you're an invisible school, nobody knows you, please go ahead and do your name search. You can move ahead and go and do your name search. That's why we said readiness for finance. Some of us might not be ready today. You might take like a 1 month process between now and January. Go and start your name search with the government so that you can access the loan. So name search is also very, very important. Now, what else is important? You must, you must have your LASRA ID. So LASRA is the registration that you need to do for us to know that you're Lagos resident, right? Now, for you to get LASRA, it is free. Just go to your nearest local government if you don't have it. And one thing we must say is that LASRA is only for Lagos residents. I repeat, LASRA is only for Lagos residents. So if you are in the Akute side, that is Ogun State, you are not in Lagos. You must be in Lagos to be able to get your LASRA ID. Now, I hope we all understand that. If you have any questions, please drop it in the chat box. I would address them at the end. You can ask anything as it concerns anything that I've mentioned. So we also want you to have your guarantors. Depending on the amount you're asking for, it might be 1 or 2 guarantors who must also have done their LASRA registration. So it's not only you that must be a Lagos resident, your guarantor must also be a Lagos resident. You cannot go and bring a guarantor from Sokoto. It must be a guarantor that is a Lagos resident, okay? And then obviously other things that have been mentioned, your BVN, those are all standards that you need to have, your bank statement. And then something that was mentioned by the last speaker, a clean credit report. Now, if you are already owing a bank and you are already defaulting and you have not gone to renegotiate terms, or you do not have a clean credit report, it is impossible. There is no magic that you are going to do that would make you successful in this process. Now, for those of us that do not know, there is a way for banks to know that you are owing another bank. So if you're not aware, some of us are aware that there's something called the credit bureau. The credit bureaus are the people that keep track of your credit report, and every single application is being checked. So they will check whether your credit report will be looked into and check whether you're owing any other financial institution. So if you're owing, it's better that you don't disgrace yourself. Just nicely go back to your bank, renegotiate, get a clean credit report. If you want to check your credit, we actually, I mean, my organization checks credit for people because it is, I mean, you can go to the credit bureaus and check. You can check yourself before you go and apply so that you are aware. Some people have, I mean, I have had a school that didn't even remember. I don't know why they don't remember, but they had come to us and we did a credit check and they didn't remember that they owed another microfinance bank for like 8 years. The money was, no, for like 5 years, they didn't even remember. So they had to go back and clear off. And it was a small amount. I think it was some charges that just kept accumulating at some point, but they didn't know that that amount was reading against their school. So you just go back. If you don't know what your credit status is, go and find out what your credit status is, know that you have a clean credit report, and then you will be able to make sure that that is not something that will hinder you from accessing the funding. Okay, so those are the critical parts or things that we need to consider. In the chat room, they've Edfin has placed the link to apply for this as well. If you're still owing Edfin, you can still apply if you are not defaulting. So what I didn't say that if you have a loan, you cannot apply. What we said was that if you're defaulting on your loan and in your credit report, you have already been reported as a defaulter. But if you're servicing your loan and there's nothing wrong with your loan, then, I mean, you can borrow if you are not already over leveraged. And that is why that cash calculation, that cash burnout rate is very, very important. You need to be able to understand if you can afford an additional loan. These are things that you need to be able to sit down, do it, calculate it, and say, okay, I can afford this, I can do that. I mean, it's not everything that you need right now that you need to borrow to achieve. There's some things that are critical that you need to have. If the loan is to meet the requirements of the Office of Education Quality Assurance of things that you need to have in your school for COVID compliance, those are critical things right now for you to be able to stay open. You know, if the funding for COVID-related things and other things that would help you to improve and attract students and to keep your students, you need to be able to prioritize what is important. You can't just say, oh, they said I can take up to 5 million, let me take it. No, there's a repayment time, and there's a monthly or termly repayment amount. If your cash flow cannot afford that type of money, you do not need to take that type of money. So you need to sit down and, I mean, take this exercise very seriously and evaluate what you can truly afford to borrow. The funds are there. It has been provided for schools. We want a lot of schools to come forward to get the funding, but you need to be ready. You need to understand your numbers. You need to be able to, you know, explain what you really need the money for, and you need to be compliant and ensure you have all of the documentation. That would be the end of my very short presentation. I hope I've been able to cover everything. If you have any questions, I'm available to take it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Onito. Thank you. It was really exciting hearing from you, and we have actually learned a lot. The session has been highly educational. We now know what to do. If you do not have your LASTRA, please go to all LCDAs right now. You can do your LASTRA registration there. And if you have not, if you do not have your tax number, please visit any Lagos State tax office. You will get your tax number from them, okay? And if you know you are owing any bank, please go and renegotiate terms so that your name will not be on the credit bureau as a defaulter. Then we'll be able to proceed with the loan. Another thing is that some of us don't know how to fill forms properly. If they ask for your surname, put surname there, don't put other names. And some of us have different school names. You see, Shola Shobowale Nursery and Primary School, Shola Shobowale College. If your own is college, don't just say school, put college there. Because we need to, there are a lot of schools that use this almost the same name, that the only thing differentiating your school from that school might just be the school or the college. So you need to put your school name properly, fill the form properly so that your application can be successful, okay? Thank you very much. Few of the questions I've seen here, one of them, Mr. Tunde, have answered it, which was talking about how you can recover your school fees from parents, because parents are using COVID as an excuse. And sorry, the person that asked that question, it is not an excuse. It is true that COVID has plunged every sector have issue, not just the education sector. So some of the parents might have lost their job or had to now live on pay cut and things like that. So those are some of the things that might be affecting them. And Mr. Tunde has dealt with that extensively. What you can do if you are going to be taking your school fees daily, take it. If it's only 100 naira they bring to, they collect like that. Your mantra right now should be collect, collect, collect. Anything you see collect, just be collecting right now, because you are in a survival mode. Please collect. This is not the period to be negotiating building. Don't buy building right now. Survive, survive. Don't go and look for loan and be using it to buy building. It doesn't make sense right now. Instead, look for what you have right now. What you have right now, how can you use it? When Mr. Tunde was talking, he talked about us using the assets that we have. Some of us don't even know that our intellect is part of the asset that we have. Some of the things that you know that other people don't know, if you have a means of teaching them for money, go ahead and do so. Your intellect is one of the assets that you have that you can employ to get money this period. Remember, it is not business as usual. You are in a survival mode. And for you to survive, things have to change. It cannot be business as usual. So stop looking for loan to go and buy school bus right now, because you don't even know how many students want school bus now that will leave your school if there's no school bus. Quantify it. How does it make sense? What is the value it's adding to you? Is it adding more value than more problems to you? This is not the time to go and look for a loan and be building houses. No, don't buy building right now. Calm down. Please survive first, then we can do a lot of things that we need to do, okay? For those of us that are interested, the link is there. Kindly click the link and fill the form properly. If you are still owing EdFin, no problem. If you have an outstanding loan, we will still give you a LSTF loan. So far, you are not defaulting. If you are defaulting, go there and renegotiate terms. If you are going to ask for restructuring, do that. Do everything you need to do so that your name will be off the credit bureau as a defaulter, and you'll be able to go ahead and apply for the LSTF loan. The LSTF loan disbursement will commence very, very soon. I need you to be patient. For those who have applied, just be patient, and we will contact you once we start disbursing, and we will all meet the requirement. We will all achieve our goal of moving the education sector forward in Lagos State. What Lagos State have done is a good initiative that we are hoping other states too can emulate. But right now that we are here, let's enjoy it and let's use it judiciously, just like Mrs. Oni has advised us. Know what you need, know what you're going to use the money for. A lot of us just borrow money because it's available. Ask yourself, this money I'm putting in is additional risk to my business. What value is it bringing? Not the money, the value is bringing. Because the truth is, if I give you 1 million naira now to build a school, I'm not going to give you students that will come to the school and not help them pay school fees. So you have to consider the fact that you need to get the student, then get the parent to pay school fees. So be very smart when it comes to finance right now. Everything you have learned today, please put it to use and your school will recover. in case you have any other information, please contact us on our email address, contact us at edfinmfb.com, and you can also send us WhatsApp messages on our number 080-9454-6334. And if you also, the recording of this webinar will be available on our YouTube from later today to be available. You can go there and rewatch it in case you didn't start with us from the beginning. We wouldn't like to keep you waiting for too long, so we are going to put an end to the meeting right now. But first of all, I would like to say a very big thank you to my MD, Mrs. Bumi Lawson, and for everyone who have joined us here today, to the panelists today, Mrs. Olaniwaju Oniitan. Thank you for always coming each time we call you. And Dr. Muyiwa Bangboshe, thank you very much for joining us, and for all the schools that will be joining you for the school transformation project. Thank you very much. Mr. Babatunde, thank you for teaching us how we can survive this period and bring our school out of crisis mode. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. And this is Edfin Microfinance Bank. We keep enabling education for the future. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being part of our vision, our mission, and we will both change the education landscape in this country, one school at a time. Thank you very much for joining. I remain Dayo Adewale. Thank you. I'm going to end this meeting now. I'm saying bye-bye. Thank you for joining, and I hope your school will grow to greater heights in Jesus' name. Thank you very much.
Dear educator, we have great news for you.
Okay, you can just watch this video as
Edfin
you...
Microfinance Bank is collaborating with LSTF to provide private schools in Lagos State with access to a single-digit interest school improvement loan. LSTF Edfin EduLoan is a post-COVID-19 recovery initiative for schools. Key features of this offer include access to up to 5 million naira school improvement loan, interest rate at 9% per annum, a flexible repayment plan of up to 30 months. Application requirements are CAC document, Lagos State Residency Registration ID, bank verification number, a school fees collection account at Edfin Microfinance Bank, guarantors information, and application submitted on Edfin LSTF website. Applications open on October 2nd, 2020. Get ready to apply. For more information, please call 080-9454-6334 or send an email to contact us at edfinmfb.com. Edfin Microfinance Bank, enabling education for the future.